Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. This week, we have a very, very interesting guest. And so, normally, what we really push for is to have the people behind the curtains in professional wrestling, the ones that are still pioneering professional wrestling, even though they're not taking bumps, they're not taking chops, they're still doing their work, they're still putting the work in. And this week, we are blessed to have Demario North on this week. What's going on, brother?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm glad we were able to link up and spend a little time talking about some different things and some charitable work.
Yes. I'm super excited for this one. Obviously we have our hashtag for right now. I'm working with the original owner of Tag Me In, hashtag Tag Me In, so that we can help a lot of wrestlers with mental health and also anybody who has problems in that area. We want to help them as much as we can. But let's get into what you do. So, can you explain to us and to the viewers who have not experienced it yet, what is Mania Club?
Yeah, so Mania Club, we're actually approaching the eighth year of it being established. There are a couple of gentlemen back at Mania Dallas, the old school Mania Dallas, who were just hanging out and decided to have a tailgate. People started showing up. They started raising a little bit of money from selling plates or people leaving tips for, uh, eating food. And they decided, what do we do with this money? Let's just go ahead and donate to Connor's Cure. And since then, since about 2016, that group has raised close to $200,000 for Connor's Cure. And that's just our main quest. And we've done a ton of side quests since then. But kudos to that group. We're at about 25,000 individuals right now. And I'm one of the moderators on the page and part of the leadership team to help with engagement and raising money for charity.
Okay, cool. Getting to see a lot of your interactions with the members of the WWE roster.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel like when you were cutting the video for Thea Hale and Caden and Katana? Like how did you get the opportunity to be the man that gets to make these videos and get to meet these wonderful superstars that we love to watch every week?
Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed and lucky to be the one that was kind of the chosen one. There's no way I'd be in that position if it wasn't for the individuals who invested time, money, and energy into doing this. So kudos to the members who really make the charitable events that we do with these individuals successful and give us an opportunity to do it over and over again. So why I was selected, there are a couple of us that do this. I would say myself and another gentleman, we're just constantly producing content with wrestlers as far as support and things along those lines. The easiest answer I can give you is back in 2020 when all this stuff started happening with COVID. It was like, you know, we
Mhm.
need to produce content because there was no live shows, there was no interaction with wrestlers or anything like that. And I stumbled onto a charity group called Give Kids the World. It's a village down in Florida that produces week-long experiences for children who are going through various illnesses and things like that, and gives them my headset, but that's okay. I can hear you out of one ear. They give cool experiences to kids, give them a week-long adventure down in the Kissimmee area, and they said, hey, we see that you like wrestling. We know some wrestlers that live in the area, and we'd love for you to partner up with them to raise some money. And from there, I'd say since 2020, we've crossed over the $75,000 mark with that group of raising money. And it just started with, okay, jump on these Zoom calls and we'll let you host with like various wrestlers. So we had Tommaso Ciampa at one point. We had Casey Caden. We had all of Undisputed Era at one point. Literally every big name of NXT from 2020 to 2022, we've had them on a Zoom call. And these were individuals that were doing these out of the gracious and goodness of their heart with members who were donating anywhere from $15 to $20. So, like, if I'm telling you you could have got on a call with Bianca Belair for $25 of a donation. If I tell you that now, that's insane. But back then, it was like Bianca started getting their name up and building herself up. Or, we had Rhea Ripley do some cards for us. So like birthday cards, Easter cards, those are awesome that we were doing some charity things for. But long story short, just because of all that engagement and that interaction, it kind of exposed me to these people. So when I started meeting them face to face, it was like, oh man, I'm really glad that you helped me connect with this charity organization. Let me, I'm open to do whatever. And I always lead to, well, let's just record a video. And then we record a video, and then that spills into someone else saying, oh, I saw you guys do a video. Let me do a video with you. And it's just been an awesome experience and an awesome ride over the past couple of years to be able to do that.
Yeah, and with each event, I noticed like Shotzi's in a lot of them. Karrion Cross and his wife are in a lot of them. So I saw that small little niche group that and how all that chemistry works. Grayson Waller being one of them in bowling. That's an interesting one. But
Yeah,
out of all those like little adventures of yours, is there like a funny story that like maybe your most favorite story out of all those adventures? Like there's many you could probably tell us, but is there a specific one that you kind of go to and stuff that
yeah. One of my favorite stories to tell is last year we helped Dijak raise a little bit of money for the Pew family after the tragic passing, and it was an awesome opportunity and experience to work with them. And then randomly, as I'm putting my daughter to bed, I get a text message, and it's like, "Hey, I'm Kofi Kingston," or he used his real name, and then
Mhm.
said, "Hey, I'm this Kofi Kingston in WWE. I'd like to, speak with you about some things that you're doing. You guys are doing a great job." And I'm like, "Okay, this is a scam." So I usually say, "Hey, jump on a Zoom call. We'll talk about it." And I didn't even think anything about it. 2 days later, he's like, "Okay, you want to hop on a Zoom call?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I get on the Zoom call, and oh, my video doesn't work. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, your video doesn't work." Blah blah blah, and then it turns into, oh, it really is Kofi Kingston, and
oh
that's another that's another partnership where we were like, oh, we'll help you. Thank you for being awesome at what you do and all those things. And we saw that he had a charitable organization, Click for Quality Education, which were providing computers for children in Ghana. And we were like, yeah, let's definitely work with you and help you raise some money for your cause as well. And I would say, since that moment, we've met with him last Monday, or this past Monday, and presented him with another $1,300 that we raised internally. And I'd say over the past year, we crossed about the $7,500 mark to ensure that kids in Ghana had their first actual experience with computers. But that's probably my funniest, like, charitable interaction, funny, like, interaction, was definitely with Grayson Waller. Like, he's a super heel, right? But when you interact with him, like, he's a heel, but you can tell he has a heart, and you know, it's an awesome experience to be able to do that. And like the bowling video that you're talking about, even when I posted it online, he commented and talked about how fake it was and all this other cool stuff. But like, again, like it, I'm having those experiences, but the part that makes it more positive and more fun with me is to hear and see other people that come with me all those experiences have a great time.
oh that's awesome, that's awesome.
Bro, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so envious. That's so cool. You get to try and make things better, but you also get to do it with these people that we idolize every single week. So, back on Mania Club, can you explain what exactly happens at the tailgate? Because having a tailgate, immediately people are going to think of football tailgates, which is, everybody getting ready for the event. They're all eating and that's it. Do you guys try and get to bring on meet and greets? What do you guys try to do at the tailgates?
Yeah, so each year is a little unique. They all try to have their own like individual spin. We've had some tailgates in the past where we've had individuals come on and uh, do meet and greets and hang out. We even had Stephanie McMahon come to our New York tailgate and walk through and come and say a couple of cool words to everybody. That was probably like the biggest guest that we've had pop up was Stephanie McMahon. Um, this year is a little different. I think we're going to have a couple of surprises for folks throughout the entire weekend. But for this one, we actually won't do it outside. We're actually going to partner with a local casino. So it's a 21 and over event. So it's going to be in the casino, in the little bar area, all you can eat, all you can drink, nice social situation, cosplay events, awesome, cool stuff. We'll be giving away our jerseys for this year. So every year we change our jersey up. This is actually a jersey from New York. But this year we have 3 different jerseys that we're releasing. So we'll have jersey giveaways and jersey pickups for people who purchased. And yeah, this one is not outside where previous years we had them outside. Last year in LA we had it like a high rise, like a 30th floor building. We rented that out. We did a whole like rooftop tailgate social thing to kind of be Hollywood for the event. And we had a bus take everybody from the event to the arena or to the stadium to make sure they got to see WrestleMania on time. But yeah, each tailgate has their own unique spin and their own unique experience. And kudos to the leadership team that sets up that part of the tailgate. I'm the guy that comes in and volunteers to put stuff up and all this other stuff. They're the thinkers that say, hey, we got to do the tailgate tomorrow. You just focus on some of the interactions and the events that we do with some of the wrestlers and help generate some money. But that group with Tay, who's the creator, as well as like Gary, those 2 guys in general, and even Tito, those 3 guys are hugely important to making sure that we have successful tailgates for our members. And those typically have a few hundred people that show up, so it's not a small undertaking either.
It's like a little convention, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. It's a little meet and greet. I like it. So how can somebody like us, like me and Chris, how can we be able to be a part of those tailgates? Do we have to buy a pass? What it would be the process?
Yeah, so if you go to our Mania Club Facebook page, all the information is there. We have 1 day and we have 2 day packages starting at like $99 and up, depending on what you want to do. And all we ask is that you pay the fee and you agree to kind of our rules of Mania Club, which is just showing respect, being positive, enjoying, having yourself a good time. And that's pretty much it to get to the tailgate. But what I typically do is when we go to the tailgate and I see somebody new, I always ask them like, "Hey, don't forget to engage with our Facebook group because we're just like the internet wrestling community. We're our own little community, and we try to be a little bit less toxic than what's outside of that. And it's no shade to anybody else, but we try to make sure we create a positive environment. We have our fights on which brand is better, which wrestler is better, and that's going to be natural. But we definitely want to make sure we get people to not only participate in the tailgate, but to invest time, money, and energy into the group and towards our causes. Because I say it all the time. We're turning individuals from fans to philanthropists, and that's the pure focus of what we're trying to do with Mania Club. But all the cool things of like the engagement with the wrestlers, the different things that we're doing with the tailgate, those are all added things on top. So I'm gonna add a little bit more to my answer and be a little bit long winded here, but to go back to those events where we had the stuff with the wrestlers, whether it be the bowling, we did escape rooms back in February, we did haunted houses in October with some wrestlers, and then every year we do a thing called Dolphin Mania, and that's in like May June-ish time frame. The only way you can get invited to those is if you are a top end investor of time, money, and or energy to Mania Club. And it's like a speakeasy event. It's not something that we post, it's not something that we say it's happening. Like by the time we announce it, it's too late. Like we've already filled it up. Like right now, Dolphin Mania is coming up, and we've already got our group that's going to go. But we just haven't posted it online that we're recruiting because we don't want people to just do it and pay and then be whatever. We want to really thank those individuals who put the time, money, and energy into what Mania Club is in order to get the benefit. But if you don't want to do that or you don't have the time or energy to do that, you gladly have the opportunity of jumping in like our tailgates or watch along threads or various posts and just engage on the page. But yeah, there's a lot of little layers to Mania Club, and we appreciate everything that everybody does to make it better.
How do we get on this group? Because this sounds so fun.
I've actually seen the Facebook group. It's pretty wild. It's a lot of open discussions. I think the latest post I saw on there was in regards to MJF turning like little like fantasy booking stuff, so somewhat similar. So I'm pretty interested. I actually just followed the group.
Yep,
So.
I've just pulled them up. This is interesting, sir. So, how does it feel, with your time that's been in it? Do you ever just sit back and just look and you go, "Wow, so that was my day today." I got to talk to um Kof on a Zoom call. He hit me up first. Like, do you just ever just zone out and go, "Wow, this is my life. I can't believe it."
No, I try to be just appreciative of every moment that I get. For me, the bigger thing is not for me to have those moments, but to see other people experience those and kind of put people onto the situation. It's super awesome to be able to experience those things and to go through that process of just seeing how things are going in the background. So, for example, like I see the TV table thing up there in the corner on this side, actually. Um, a couple of weeks ago when we were in Florida, TZ was super awesome to be able to just be like, hey, I'll let you guys come and watch me do an episode of TV's Table, kind of see the background. And for me, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like another, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't want to say exact day, but it was just a normal day. But for the people that I brought with me, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're sitting here and seeing how the magic works, and then seeing him talk to this person.
Mhm.
And to me, that's where I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand like how awesome this is, and kind of getting into it. I don't want to say I'm numb to it, but for me, like the biggest fulfillment that I get out of it is to invest to make other people have an awesome time and to kind of thank them for all the charitable things they've done.
Mm. Understand a little bit of what you're talking about, and that's, I mean, obviously how we got connected to link up and set up this interview. He's put a lot of faith in me and in this show. So I understand a little bit because there are some times where he'll bring somebody on and um my co-host here will be like, "Whoa, we're having this person." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got this moment.
It's
This moment was
it never
ours."
ceases to amaze me at how far, or like let's say certain guests, for like example, like Zilla Fatu. I'm like, what? How? Why? How? How are you doing this? So it's pretty insane. So there's still that little thing where, of course, we'll probably never be dumped to it. We're always going to be like, oh my god, we actually just got this person for this week. So it's it's a process. It's kind of like getting into but ultimately, like, being able to also be a part of the culmination of a certain community in our own, trying to gather in people, trying to get people involved, trying to talk. We talk about mental health in the Discord. We try and fantasy book, trying to culminate something, because oftentimes it's just shitty circumstances that we all draw to distract ourselves from. So, and wrestling just happens to be that facet.
Yeah, and I mean the coolest thing that happens is when you have those oh my goodness moments. Is for me when I have somebody follow me on Instagram, I'm like, oh my goodness, this person is following me. And I didn't really think they noticed me when we were having certain conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a few months ago, Tommaso Ciampa made a post on his Instagram after I had dinner with him, and it was like, oh my goodness, like he really said something super nice about me, and I'm like, oh, this is Tommaso Ciampa, and then my friends were like, wait, you know Tommaso Ciampa? And he said da 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 da, and I'm like, yeah, I guess like this
Yeah.
is cool. Like in my internal like preteen wrestling fan, it's like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, I can't believe this is happening. Where like my adult self is like, you gotta be calm, like don't look
Yeah, gotta be
crazy.
calm.
Yeah.
Right? It's not gonna be like I'm gonna hang around you, or especially when you go around certain talent, they want to make sure that like it doesn't get weird,
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
try to be calm and like I'm supposed to be here kind of attitude with those folks.
Oh, that's so I love how much you're putting over Tommaso. That was one of my guys in NXT, and then when he finally came back, to Raw, I was super excited. I love that. I love that you're putting him over. It's it's crazy to hear these stories too, that you had dinner with Tommaso Ciampa. You took people backstage to TZ's table. You're getting to do all of these things, and in our such small but big but small world of professional wrestling, that's what I love to say it. It's a very, very blessing position that you're in, but it's not unobtainable. It's just you put in the work. You helped with Mania Club, which by the way, how do like for a show like us or for groups or anything, how would they be able to help Mania Club? How would they be able to what could we do to help Mania Club? Not for the way of meeting people, but for the way of helping people in the way that we're trying to do.
Yeah, the easiest answer I can give everybody is for the Mania Club perspective, just spread the word. Time and energy, those are two of the big three. Is just spread the word of Mania Club, what we do, what we support. Um, Share our Facebook page, share kind of our events and things that we're doing to help us generate additional interest and potentially some additional money and donations for the things that we're doing. So right now, and I just remembered that we have to close this, so you're going to see me closing this live. We were at an auction, so you can't really see it, but there's this one, and then there's a PS5 version of WWE 2K24 that was signed by Kofi Kingston, and we were running an auction on it, and I totally forgot that I was supposed to close the auction. So those are like the little things like we're doing, like, hey, Mania Club's running an auction. Can you make sure like to check it out and see if you want to participate in it? And then that's like a little thing that you can do. And then just engaging on the page, being positive, bring that positive energy and flair, and then everything else just kind of naturally happens. You just go with the flow of everybody else and you see what's going on. From a podcast perspective, if like there's something big that we have coming up, just saying, hey, you want to jump on and talk about it, we can talk about it super easy. Or like to anybody else outside, like there's an idea that you have, reach out to myself or any of the other admins and leadership individuals and talk to us about it, and we'll be like, hey, we can help you out by doing X, Y, and Z. If you help us out by doing A, B, and C. So there's a ton of different things that we can do. So to go back to your Tommaso Ciampa thing, I'm not saying this is a flex. Like this is a total funny story, but again, brings you back to the appreciation. Back in the day, my favorite wrestling ticket was an NXT Blacklist ticket. Do you either of you know what that is?
NXT
No.
Blacklist? No.
Okay. So like in the black and gold era of NXT, when they did takeovers, they sold a blacklist ticket. They never marketed it except for one time. It was a $750 ticket. And what the ticket got you, they only sold 20 of them, and they just randomly put them on a website. They didn't tell anybody it was there. You just had to know just to look one day. You go to the venue, they take you backstage, they let you meet wrestlers, they walk you down the ramp, you get to stand on the ramp, you get to stand in the ring, on the ring, side of the ring, then they take you up to a suite. It's all you can eat, all you can drink. There's a waiter, waitress, and then the whole time you're doing this, there's a photographer that follows along with you. And you have kind of these individuals that will hang out with you. And then during the actual pay per view in your suite, wrestlers will come up and just hang out with you. So we had a ton of wrestlers that would meet with us and hang out. But for me, the one name that I would put on my like list of people to come up was Tommaso Ciampa, and he never came up. And I think it was a huge heel run for him. But then one time we were in Brooklyn, and Triple H came out and shook our hands and hung out, took a picture with us on the ramp, and we were like, okay, that's super awesome. They're like, we got one more surprise for you guys. This was the night that Tommaso was coming back after his neck surgery, so he had the neck brace on and everything. And they weren't announcing that he was there. And they're like, you gotta put your phones away. You can't tell anybody on social media that you're doing this. When he met Tommaso Ciampa, and I freaked out. So fast forward to 2020, June 2020. Um, I got the call like, hey, you want to do a Zoom call with Tommaso Ciampa? And I'm like, yeah, right. It's not gonna be Tommaso Ciampa. He's not gonna do it. He never does it. So then an hour before, they said, oh, he wants to do a test. Just make sure it's good. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what happens. So he gets on, and sure enough, it's him. And then ever since then, like, him and I have just been. He's been super awesome with like helping with Give Kids the World. He's always engaged with Give Kids the World, and that's what kind of gravitated a lot of the connection that I have with him, because when he was doing Give Kids the World events, I was either at the same event or we were donating towards the same like main event, because in December they do this thing called Hearts of Reality, or they did this thing called Hearts of Reality, where they just celebrated kind of the years of donations, and they had a huge gala, and we would all hang out and stuff. But to be able to do those things to help people to engage and do a lot of those different things from a charitable perspective, and then be recognized and have friends that also do that process and be like, oh my goodness, we're all in this together and we're all doing positive things. It's like a super awesome thing to experience. And that's again why I'm like in the moment, I'm like, be cool, be cool, be cool. But my internal like wrestling fans like, oh my goodness, Tommaso Ciampa, you've been asking to see him all the time, da 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 da, and now here's your opportunity, and what are you gonna say? And it's like, what's up? Here, like that's all I can say.
Yep, that's how it goes.
Do you ever get nervous before a tailgate or before an event or anything like that? Do you ever have like, all right, yeah, I'm basically the guy that's gonna go and introduce people, talk to people, and do all this thing. Do you ever get nervous? Do you or no?
No, I get into. I tell my friends all the time. I get into this thing called host mode, where you're like, and you both are familiar with it, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not nervous now. You're just like you're in your zone. You're in your character. You're in who you are. And for me, that's what happens with me. Like before those events, I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. All right, let's just go through. And then we go through, and it's like, okay, everybody introduce themselves, tell them where they're from, and you're telling wrestlers like they introduce themselves like they don't know who Karrion Cross is. Like, hey, you're Karrion Cross. Okay, where are you from? And then you say, okay, here's a donor. She flew in all the way from Seattle to Florida to hang out with you, and that kind of breaks the ice. And then when you break the ice with a lot of these folks, you realize that they like some of the same things that you like. They like theme parks. They like hanging out. They like just being social. And when it doesn't feel like they're working, I think that that's a cool thing to experience.
That's so cool. I like that you said theme parks just because I would love to meet like Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona mostly just because they're big theme park people. So when you said
Mm-hmm.
that, I was like, okay, true. I think KO is too and Tommaso are big theme park guys, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, there's a lot. So one of the other individuals that are like super awesome, obviously Shotzi is huge into theme parks. Joe Gacy is huge in like theme parks and scary stuff, like both of them. So it's cool to be able to experience those things with those individuals, and then be like, I'm super scared right now, but it's cool to be able to do this with someone that's like, yeah, this is nothing. There's a place that I can take you to, and they'll handcuff you and do this. And this are like, oh my goodness! But to be able to let your hair down with these individuals that you see on TV as large as life is like the coolest thing in my book.
You're freaking out. You're in the middle of the haunted house and you're freaking out. You're like, man, this is scary. And then you see Shotzi and Gacy smile, and you're like, I think they're scarier. I don't think this is as bad anymore.
Or like we did an escape room, and Casey and Caden were in the escape room with us, um, and they're just intense, and they're just like, we got to get through this as quickly as possible, and then something pops out, and then you jump, and they're like, don't worry about it, let's just keep going, let's just keep moving. So like you try like look scared in front of these individuals. So it gives you a little bit of courage juice, but at the same time, when it's over, you're like, I can't believe I just screamed like a little wimp in front of Casey.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a weird scenario. Just being stuck in an escape room with a WWE superstar, and they're just telling you like, "We need to get out of here." That's just mind blowing to me.
Well, obviously this episode has been very refreshing. I gotta say that. I I'm gonna be honest, I was nervous. I was even nervous before sending you the link to get on here and everything, man. I'm gonna be 100% honest because a man of a man in your position, you came onto our show. Our show's still growing, which we're very thankful for that you came on. But I didn't know what to expect, and you're really awesome, man. And I'm glad that we got to meet, and I respect everything that Mania Club does. But one question is, where can we get a jersey? What site do we got to go to? Where can we order a jersey?
We don't sell them on the site. We do have a Mania Club shop where you get like shirts and hoodies and hats and stuff. But the jerseys we sell directly through our Facebook page. So if you go to the Facebook page, you go to the top. We have a bunch of pinned posts, and one is a pinned post where I just give you like the whole spiel, like this is what Mania Club is. Don't be a jerk. Be nice. Invest time, money, and energy. Here's our cause with Give Kids the World. Here's our cause with this. And then I give you a link and it says, hey, you want to order a jersey? Click this. And click you and takes you to the post where you can see the 3 different colors. So we have an orange this year, like a old school Philly orange. We got the Philly Kelly green. As a 49ers fan,
That's
okay,
gross, but
fine.
all right.
Right? We got a Kelly green. And then we have an old school, like burgundy Phillies style that we're doing. So every year the jersey kind of relates to the city that we're in. So, like, for example, this one was from New York. So we have like the Statue of Liberty like logo. But this year we have 3 different versions that we're doing. And they're on the Mania Club page and they are for sale. I think one of them is almost sold out. The VIP version is, I think, out. And then we have a jersey pickup in Philly for anybody that's going to be in WrestleMania. And I don't want to give anything away, but I would say that if you get to the jersey pickup early, you might get a little bit of an extra surprise.
It's Jason Kelsey, isn't it? Don't you tease me. I would pop for that. Okay. So everybody, if you guys are going to Mania, definitely one place to stop by. You guys, well, you'll be there, correct? Of course you'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there starting on Friday, and then I leave Monday night. I won't be able to attend the Raw after Mania, but I'll be there for the majority of the festivities.
Yeah, I don't imagine there'd be too many surprises after, like, even though you said you know, you accept every moment. I think it's very, very rare to surprise you. Am I wrong in this business at this point?
Um, yeah, it's a different kind of surprise for me. Like I need different surprises, like people popping up and appearing and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but um, I get a bigger pop when somebody says, yes, I will do your Zoom call, or I'll do your charity event, or this, or I'll sign some stuff, or do some stuff here or there. And obviously, the game's changed a little bit, right? You know, with the way that the world's kind of getting and how you interact and engage with people, and now things are coming back to full steam. Uh, these in-person events and opportunities are, to me, even more gold. Um, Especially when you could say like these unique things that you do based on charity opportunities and to raise money. So yeah, I don't get too many surprises other than somebody saying, "Yes, I will appear at your event," or "I'll pop up at the tailgate." So, like I said earlier, Stephanie McMahon popping up in New York was probably for me the biggest like Mania Club pop that I've ever had. Is that, you know, these 3 SUVs roll up, a bunch of security comes out, Stephanie rolls out wearing a Mania Club jersey and just starts high fiving people and taking pictures and signing stuff and grabs the mic and just starts talking. And like those are the kind of things for me. I'm like, that's truly what gives me a pop.
Chris, you would have cried. I'm calling it.
Yeah.
You would have cried.
Just like you said, the 3 SUVs just rolling up, and it's just this entire flock of it people, and oh god, I'd freak out.
Yeah, and
So
at the time, only 2 people knew that she was coming. So when she came, they were like, "Oh, let's get some people together to just make sure we have a wall here." Okay, why? Oh, here's the SUV. Oh my goodness, who's getting out? Oh, it's Stephanie. And then you can see people as they're eating their food at the tailgate. They're like,
They're just
"Where's
turning.
Stephanie? We gotta run over there."
They just turn like,
Yeah,
that's that. See, like these stories, like you need to have like your own podcast, man, of just your your experiences, because it's kind of a diamond in a rough moment, sort of, just for your team in general, just for Mania Club, because got into bowl with superstars, you know, getting to interact with these people. It's I bet you have way more stories, and eventually down the road we'll have to have like an in-person interview with you. I'd love to sit down with you and actually get to go into it a bit more and a lot deeper into it because I bet I just want to pick your brain. That's all I want to do is pick your brain, sir.
Yes, you'll get some interesting stories and stuff out of it if you do. But no, yeah, it's an awesome experience. And I'm very blessed to be able to be a part of such an amazing club that just donates time, money, and energy into a lot of efforts. Originally, it was for wrestling fans who hate cancer, but we're really wrestling fans who are fans that are turning into philanthropists. And we're just digging into so many different avenues and opportunities. And I'm just very proud to be a part of this group.
100%. And we'll do our part. We'll share. We'll engage because even take away from the fact that you guys get to meet these superstars and do all of these things, it's the community that I'm most impressed about. And the fact that you guys are all willing to give it everything you got so that, like Kofi's charity, so that kids in Ghana can have computers and just all of these unique facets. I I'm in love with it. I love it. It's awesome. That's the best way I could say it. I've had to go through the journey where we started Tag Me In, or we started helping Paragon, where I want to do as much as I can because I am very blessed for the life I have, but I want to do more. And everybody else deserves that chance to have a blessed life too. So I'm impressed, man. I love it. It's cool.
Yeah, 1000% agreed. And thank you for everything that you all are doing. Like you say, hey, you're doing it at a certain level. Like no, there's nobody that's doing it at a small level. There's nobody that's doing it at a high level. We're all pitching in a positive realm, and I'm appreciative of every single person that just invests some form of time, money, or energy into something that's positive and something that impacts, because it's always going to at some point be a domino effect, and it's going to bring somebody else into it, and then it's going to be a domino effect, bring somebody else into it. There's no way I would have been a part of Mania Club if it wasn't for an individual that donated like $10 in his entire career of being a part of Mania Club. But he said, "Hey, there's this group that does this and this," and then I got into it, and then this whole whirlwind of me being a part of the leadership team now and driving, some donations for the group is all because of this one person investing like 5 minutes to just tell me about Mania Club. So, like, do not diminish what you guys are doing. Y'all are doing an awesome job. And I promise you that there's going to be somebody that's going to come to you and say, because of what you said to me, I did this great thing.
I hope so. So, as we begin to wind down, Chris, do you have any more questions for our awesome guest this week?
The only question I have is during my research, I'm going back to your interaction with Kofi. You gave him a DVD. Do you know? So Kofi has mentioned that he's going to throw the DVD into someone else's bag. Do you, by chance, maybe not, maybe so? Do you know the location of said out of time DVD? Has it made its way through someone else's gym bag? Has the gift been regifted?
So just a quick 30 seconds of what you're talking about, Chris, is I had a friend that made a donation, and he mailed me something to get signed, like a photo of him and Kofi. Um, and for some strange reason, it had a copy of the Out of Time DVD in it. I said, "Why is this in here?" He's like, "Oh, it was an accident when I was packing. It must have fell in. Just give it to Kofi. It's fine." So then I gave it to Kofi, and Kofi started laughing. I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then he said he would give it to somebody. And I can confirm that someone else has received it, but I can't get into the story today. But I will give you a funny story. Um, my life for charity is kind of beyond this with Mania Club, but I've done a ton of like fan philanthropist things. If you look at my Instagram, I'm a huge 49ers fan, so you see that I do a bunch of stuff with the 49ers, or just football players in general, but definitely 49ers players. Locally, I live in the Carolinas. I do a lot of stuff with the Panthers players. It's my wife's and my brother's favorite team. So again, being a fan of philanthropist, it's my version of like thanking someone instead of buying all their jerseys. And I have a bunch of collectibles, but instead of buying a bunch of jerseys and a bunch of collectibles, I'm like, I want to donate time, money, and energy into like their charities and what they support. So I do a lot of stuff in my spare time. one of my friends back in the 2020 election period was like, "Hey man, come hang out with me. We're gonna have some dinner with some folks." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we go and have dinner, and there's a lady at the table that's sitting across from me. Then we start talking. I'm like, "Man, she looks so familiar, but I don't want to be weird or anything." Turns out it was Stormy Daniels. And we're having dinner and hanging out with Stormy Daniels, and then we go to uh, a gentleman's club that she's doing like a book signing or something at, and we're hanging out. It's all cool and all this other cool stuff. And then she adds me as a friend on Instagram, and then fast forward to what last year we have our baby. And then as we start, posting pictures of our baby and she starts growing, she'll post a picture and then all of a sudden there's a comment from Stormy Daniels, "You have such a beautiful daughter, yada, yada, yada." And my wife's like, "How are we
Oh.
going to explain to my daughter? How are we going to explain to her who Stormy Daniels is?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's just dad's friend." Or like we'll have other people that are like, "How in the world is Stormy Daniels aware of your child and commenting on your child? This is like the coolest thing ever." But then we have some other people like, "Should we even ask how you know this lady?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just dinner, nothing crazy." But then if you look a little bit more down the rabbit hole, you'll see that there's like this boomerang photo. So everybody does those like "I voted" sticker things, where they put the "I voted" sticker here. I had this smart idea where I took like six of them, like on a string, and tied it to my mouth, and then put it in her mouth, and did like this boomerang thing where we were like coming close in and out with each other on the mouth. And she posted it back in 2020, and obviously the comments were what you expected. But it's one of my favorite, like I voted, uh, like picture video boomerang thingies ever. But that's probably one of my like favorite funny random stories I like to tell.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
That's a weird. That's a conundrum. Like, I'm curious at that what that talk was with your wife. I'm
that's
curious.
It was more fun than anything else. Luckily for me, like my wife's been super awesome, and I give her like on my Route Rushmore of like people that helped me through this. She's definitely on there because she's been super
Mhm.
supportive. Even now, like it's a little bit late on this side of our planet, but like she's like, "Oh, if the baby wakes up, I'll take care of the baby. You just jump on the call and knock it out. That's perfectly fine." But for her, when she saw that and we started talking about it, it was more like she was roasting me and it was funny. And so I'm glad that I have a wife that was understanding.
I feel like she was chill with it. I feel like the other everybody else was probably like, "How? Just where? What's the story?" And you're like, "No, it's the you know what? Screw it. I'm not gonna be able to explain it."
What a nice
Right.
breaker. What a nice breaker.
That's awesome. So, like I said, um, I can't wait to have another interview with you. Hopefully next time we could get into the football stuff because I bet you have
Okay.
tons of stuff with that. But overall, thank you for your time. Where can everybody find you? Where can everybody find Mania Club? Even though we've said it like 10 times already that they have the Facebook page, let's plug as much as we can for Mania Club and for yourself.
All right. Let me try to do this without any piece of paper. Okay. On X, it's Mania Club WWE. On Instagram, it's Mania Club Official. On Facebook, if you just type in Mania Club, you'll see the Facebook group that comes up. There's a couple of questions you have to answer. That's part of the process. Like you have to make some agreements when you join the page, and once you make those agreements, we review it. We bring you in. That's where you find all the Mania Club opportunities. If you go to v.org/Mania Club, that's where you see our charitable opportunities for our efforts with Connor Secure. If you go to gktw.org/Mania Club 24, that's for our efforts with Give Kids the World. And those are really all the links for Mania Club. Me, if you just go to Instagram and you search for "It's a Me Demario," so like funny play on "It's a Me Mario." It's like "It's a Me Demario." You'll see my Instagram there if you want to follow along for some randomness. But for me, the biggest thing is not necessarily me; it's Mania Club. But if you want to follow me, that's cool too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode. of Downtime in the Ring. This has been a very refreshing talk. I had a lot of fun with this one. Hope to see you again down the road. Who knows? Maybe it'll be at a Mania Club. That's a goal that I'm gonna have, is I want to help at a Mania Club, because you guys seem to just have the greatest time there. And we will catch y'all in the next episode.